and not give out all the information. But yes, you can go ahead and write it in. Gives you the opportunity to express whatever's going on. If you've got serious detail, you talked to Sally and it was this day and she promised you this and you promised that and you fulfilled your end of the bargain and they didn't, then you have the opportunity to say all of those things if you write it and if you go ahead and send it in. So you can go ahead and write it and send it in to the credit bureaus. Their addresses are available anywhere. A quick Google search will get you their addresses for sure, and you can send it in to them. Goes to a P.O. box. Not necessarily the greatest thing because it goes in a P.O. box and say they get 100 letters a day, which is probably a small, small number. But, but still, you can write it and send it in. Online, which I prefer to do, and at least initially, sometimes what I do with my clients is I don't dispute everything all at the same time. So if I send in a dispute, I'm kind of testing the waters. I like to use TransUnion first as my gauge to see what's going to come back, what's going to happen. Sometimes I'll do that if we have time to do so. If you're in a hurry and you need to get this done right away, then you need to file your disputes with all three credit bureaus at the same time. If you're not organized enough, you need to go ahead and do all three at the same time so you don't forget to file it with Equifax and file it with Experian as well. Because when you do file a dispute, you have to file with all three credit bureaus. So I hope you know that. You can't just file the dispute with one and then it's going to translate and be updated on your Equifax and your Experian and at the same time. It doesn't work that way. So you've got to file it with all three for it to take on all three. And typically, you'll get the same answer from all three of them. And I say typically because I have had on occasion that two of the credit bureaus will remove something and the third credit bureau will not remove something. Now, why is that and how does that happen? I really have no idea why that is the case. Because here's what happens when you file a dispute. You send your dispute in. If you're making your dispute through the credit bureau, you send it to the credit bureau. The credit bureau contacts the collection agency or the company, and they give them what you said. Why this shouldn't be your account or what's wrong with this account. That particular company or the collection agency has to come back to the credit bureau to say, hey, this is their account, or no, this is correct, that's not their account, so that means you have to remove it from the credit report. So that's how it works. So whatever information comes back from that company or collection agency, it's the same letter. They're not writing a different letter to Equifax than they wrote to TransUnion. They're writing the same letter. So it would make sense that if Equifax says that's good enough for me and I'm going to remove it from the credit report, TransUnion should also agree. And Experian should also agree, and it should come off of all three credit reports. Sometimes it does not work that way, and one of the credit bureaus, for whatever reason, is a stickler about holding on and keeping it on your credit report. So let me get back to this whole online and written dispute part. So online, you get to go ahead, you send it in, it's quick, when you sent it in. You definitely know when you sent it in and when they received it, because what will happen is if you're doing it online, you're using your email address or what have you, and so they'll send you an email back that says, hey, we received it. We received your online dispute, so that is the day. Tomorrow's April the 1st. I sent my dispute in on April the 1st. They have 30 days. Put it in your calendar. Keep looking for it to come back to you. So you have that. When you send it by mail, you don't necessarily know what day they received it. It's some of them are going to Texas, some of them going to Atlanta, some of them go to Pennsylvania. You don't know when they actually received it, how long it took to get there. However, my suggestion for you, if you're going to do a written statement, and send it, a written dispute and send it to the credit bureaus, that you send it with receipts. So when you go to the post office, you say, yep, I want to know when they got it. So somebody has to sign for it and just pay the extra $1.25 or whatever it is to get it to them. And so that they actually received it. You'll know the day they received it. And, oftentimes you might even know who actually received it in case there's an issue and something comes up. So that's one of the really, really good things about doing a written dispute, is because you get to fully explain whatever the issue is with you. And then two, you get that written receipt when you go take it to the post office to mail it off, so you know exactly when. But again, they do get 35 days to go ahead and evaluate and get back to you on, what happens. You also will get snail mail. So they typically won't send you an email back to say, yes, we received it, or give you any updates on the investigation like they would when you do it online. However, you will get it back in the mail. You'll get that letter back in the mail, telling you what the decision is. And of course, you do have, if it doesn't come back in your favor, what you wanted it to happen, you wanted it to be removed from your credit report and whatnot, you do have an appeals process as well. And appeals process would probably be better if you do it written versus doing it online. So I think that's all I got for you, Rich. So thank you so very much. I appreciate you contacting me, asking about online versus doing a written statement. So I hope that's clear to everybody. If you have any questions at all, please send me an email, 800creditscoreman@gmail.com. If I talk too fast for you, replay the show. Play it on a different platform that you've been listening to it to. But listen to the show, get down the details, and if you have any questions, again, email me, 800creditscoreman@gmail.com. That's the question of the day. Rich, you are officially a part of the 800 Credit Score Man Show family. So thank you very much. Brought to you by Cuties a Cupcakery and Bake Shop, where the cupcakes are more than just cute, they're delicious. Located at 2008 West 81st in Maryville, Indiana. Get by Cuties a Cupcake. Let them know that the 800 Credit Score Man sent you. So I hope I addressed everything. I did not say if you're in a hurry. So if you're in a hurry and you need to get this stuff back quick, say you're trying to buy a home or something, you got 3 months, 4 months, 5 months to get it done, you're in a hurry, then online. I'm gonna suggest that you do it online if you're in a hurry, just simply because you get that, you got that 30 days versus 35 days. Every day counts sometimes, so make sure you do it online. If it's simple, if it's very simple, if you go online to say Experian and you look and see, they got 12 or 14 different boxes of where your dispute fits. So if your dispute fits in, I don't own this account, or your dispute fits in, I don't have responsibility for this account anymore, or the company agreed to remove this from your credit report. Whatever that is, you just simply check the box. So if it's something simple, then you can do it online. But if there's an issue and you need to make a statement about it and explain in detail what's going on, and you want to send it to by mail. If you have documentation, oftentimes people don't have documentation for what they're saying when it comes to disputing their bad accounts. But if you have documentation, absolute documentation that shows, yes, you did pay this account, here's the day that you paid it, or whatever it is, you have that documentation, then you want to do it by mail because you want to send your documentation in. But what you don't want to do is send in your originals. You need to get a copy of this, and then you send in your copies. Do not send in your originals because, one, you're not going to get them back at all. And if it pops up again or some other issue, then you won't have that. You won't have your receipts, if you will, anymore. So make sure that you make a copy and send them a copy of your documentation, and you do that by mail when it comes to your online and your written dispute. So glad I got that out. All right. So I want to let you know this too. So I think I mentioned this on the dispute show, but I'm not sure. So while you file a dispute, while you're filing one and it's under investigation, basically once the credit bureau accepts the fact that you filed a dispute, that particular collection stays on your credit report. I mean, they're not going to remove it right away from sight, but they'll take it out of your calculation of your credit score. So if they take it out of your calculation of your credit score after you file a dispute, your credit score will go up a little bit, right? Well, you hope so, especially if you only have one or two and you did a dispute for them, then your credit score is going to inflate a little bit. All right. So for, I don't know, not necessarily nefarious sake, but if you had a dispute and that you needed to file, and say you were going to buy a vehicle in the next 3 weeks or 2 weeks or something of that nature, if you happen to file a dispute and your credit score goes up a little bit and you go in and buy that car, they're going to base your interest rate and all your approval and all that stuff off of that credit score. They're not going to base it off of your old credit score because they don't have that information. So that might happen. Now, mortgage companies is totally different. They have become wise to this trick, and so they will not take that into consideration. So they know you filed a dispute, and they can see that you filed a dispute. So mortgage companies are used to be an old mortgage trick back in the day. Back in the day, if you were a mortgage lender, you saw somebody had some issues, you knew that their credit score would go up if they filed a dispute. Whether it stayed on that credit report or not, that score would be going up, and so you as the mortgage agent would suggest to your client, go ahead and file a dispute, and then I'm going to submit it to underwriting. Underwriting is only going to look at that number, what that credit score is, that 3-digit number, and they're going to base their decision off of that, not necessarily delving into the fact there's a dispute going on and that score is artificially high. So that was an old mortgage trick back in the day for mortgage agents, and companies have gotten astute of that. So that's not the case. You can't walk in and do that anymore. But that's how it is when it comes to filing a dispute. Your score should go up a little bit artificially, and maybe that's where your score will end once they do remove that from your credit report, and hopefully they will remove it for you. All right, so let me get these shout outs before I tell you this last little story right quick. So I got Lionel and Renee Douglas anniversary in. I want to say happy birthday to my man Keith Cates. Keith Cake celebrates his birthday tomorrow. So not only is tomorrow Easter, not only is your mortgage or your rent due tomorrow, not only is it April Fool's Day, but it's also Keith Cake's birthday. So happy birthday to you, Keith. I got to give a happy birthday shout out to Robert Lewis Jr., who is the owner of Inc. Realty. He celebrated a birthday earlier as well. Valerie Harris' birthday, I believe, is today. So happy birthday to you, Valerie. And then also Rodney Bonds celebrated a birthday. So happy birthday to you, Rodney Bonds, as well. All right, so let me get to this last thing. I want to tell you about debt consolidation. This is an example, real life example, just happened from one of my clients. So let me give you a little background, a little rundown on it. So years ago, this client filed bankruptcy, but it still got years for it to still stay on his credit report, all right? He did reestablish credit, with credit cards, and got a couple of automobiles, so he's done that. I've suggested to you guys before, if you file bankruptcy, don't wait out 7 years, 10 years to start establishing credit. You need to do it as soon as somebody will let you. You need to do it if you've learned your lesson. So know thyself, something I say often. So he's reestablished credit. So his credit score was still not climbing. Got a couple credit cards, got a couple cars, has a mortgage, but his credit score still wasn't climbing enough. So got a chance to remove a collection or a public record that was on his credit report that should have been included in the bankruptcy. Got that done. Actually got it done in record time, sent it in online, like I like to do, sent it in online because it was relatively simple, 24 hours. 24 hours gone, and sent it in on a Friday. People are done on Fridays. You go to work every day. Friday, 2 o'clock, them clients and those customers might not get service as well as they would on Tuesdays, So got it done on a Friday in 24 hours, got that removed. Score moved some, but what was holding him back was his debt utilization. We've talked about this debt utilization so much, man. I know you're sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of it. But to tell you the truth, that debt utilization is something that you can absolutely impact positively in your favor when it comes to your credit score. So debt utilization was holding him back. We discussed the whole thing about paying it down and paying it off, just naturally paying it off, using the snowball method or using the avalanche method. We talked about doing that, and it just didn't happen. Life gets in the way. You got things going on, just weren't able to get that done. So the subject of debt consolidation came up. So talked about maybe doing a debt consolidation. I've had clients in the past go ahead and do a debt consolidation. Their scores have moved up. Famously, the one that comes to the top of my mind was one young man who went ahead, did a debt consolidation. His credit score shot up 65 points. I was like, man, that's great. You get back to this particular one. So did a debt consolidation not too long ago, just recently did a debt consolidation. Got rid of all those credit cards, except for one actually. Got rid of them when I say got rid of them, I mean got rid of the balances on them. Except for one, they didn't give them enough money to consolidate